Yeah, awesome. All right, so let's dig into that a little bit more, right? So show us kind of what you're doing there. Let's just go over a little bit of, how you want folks to think about that when they're tackling that.
Yeah. Well, again, I was saying, actually, the first half, when you really look at the notes that I'm choosing, they are very much kind of just arpeggio, maybe varying the shape of them. The second A section, I get into these, what I call melodic embellishments, right? This is the other big thing. So if I'm always saying to people, the way that you create jazz lines is by creating melodies off of the arpeggios, right? And then people go, whoa, I'm playing my arpeggios and it doesn't sound like jazz. Well, first of all, variation in, a lot of times people, they learn a shape and they always start on the root and they go up. So I tried to show variations, like start on the third of that chord and move up, or start on the root and come down. So, if you're starting to work on this kind of texture of arpeggiating through the changes, awesome, you're on the right track. Now start to dig in, get under the hood a little bit and break it up. Break up the order of the notes and break them up rhythmically. But in the last half, I really get into the deep, this is the deeper game of it, or what that will lead to, which are, so melodic embellishments, you may hear this called approach tone playing, target tone playing. I've heard people call it bracketing. This is really, now this goes back to Bach, Mozart, or check it out. Right, the little kid songs or folk songs. Really, for instance, in that Mexican hat dance, this is chromatic below. Here's my triad. To the third, to the root 5, right? So many of these iconic, any really great kind of melodies like this use this. So it's used in classical music. They have fancy names for it. They might call it lower neighbor, upper neighbor, call it an arpeggiatura or escape tone. I kind of just break it down in a real simple thing. You have chromatic below and variations on that. Right up the scale. Now, when I started to learn about this, it also helped me learn a song really quick when I could see that. Oh, it's just the B flat triad arpeggio and then going up the scale. I could learn that in 1 second. Let me think about that. Okay. Then it does the same thing on the 5 chord. That's just the arpeggio, E flat 7, right? So that's just a perfect example. It's something that's around you all the time. And I'm telling you, when you start to uncover and get this under your instrument, it's going to open things up. Because once I have that texture, and again, going back to the thing with the 8th note line that Emily Remler taught me to do, and which I can do on any song that I play, connect, voice lead, all the chord tones and the arpeggios. I'm going to now start to break it apart with some of those embellishments. And that's creating melodies now, melodic phrases off of the changes. So again, the more that you know how that texture fits, then you can have some fun with these, and also rhythmically how you explore them. So for instance, that case of, if I just use it even as just a B flat triad, chromatic below. Or the other one, so there's a group of 3 of them that we call simple embellishment. Chromatic below. And again, sometimes I like to practice it where when I descend, I displace it, so I don't go straight up, I go. So I'll go to the 3rd, to the 5th, to the root, to the 3rd, to the 5th, to the root, to the root, to the 3rd, to the 5th, to the root, to the 3rd. It's great ear training, right? Diatonic above. So B flat triad. And I could break those up. You hear Charlie Parker play that all the time. He goes, right? All the time. You find all, and really, when I started learning about this and I started transcribing Coltrane in particular, he had so much fluidity and just control of this stuff. It's like a very detailed work of art. you know, like the anatomy of the whole thing is there. The perspective is there. All that technique is there. But it's all this beautiful decoration on top. You could think of it, how you decorate, maybe. That might be another way to think of it. So I could decorate it with note chromatic below, diatonic above, or I could combine them. Below, above. Anyway, you hear Charlie Parker play that all the time. So Charlie, you know, so they in themselves become licks. But that's so in that last part, I start to decorate or embellish that arpeggio structure with those, and that really, when you can get to that place, you're really in the deep game of creating melodies off of the changes. Does that make sense? That's crazy.
Absolutely.
No, that's just crazy stuff. I just made that up. I was kidding.
It makes sense and it's crazy. I think it's both. We've captured it all.